Hi there. So, for the second part of the project, I did not receive any feedback for any of my classmates since I wasn't able to submit the work on the original due date. However, I wanted to take this opportunity to reflect on my own performance and the presentation of the information that I'm providing you. Um, as my own feedback and for myself, I've noticed that some of the visuals could be clearer and easier to interpret. For example, I could improve the consistency of colors and labels and layout to make the data analysis more understandable. Regarding my communication, I feel like I did stop for a little bit in different slides and I realized that they were moments where I could explain my ideas more clearly and highlight the key points of the analysis. Um, I also feel like I could have done better with the interpretation of the results. I wanted to put like the most important information in the presentation. So I'm gonna keep the images. I'm just gonna try to present the information in a different way. Overall, the self-feedback allowed me to identify both strengths and opportunities for improvement, not only in the visual presentation, but also in how I combine my understanding of the data. This exercise helps me continue developing my analytical and communication skills. So let's begin with the presentation one more time. So my name is Daniela, and I'll present an exploratory data analysis based on the World Health Organization WHO mortality database focusing specifically on stomach cancer. The purpose of this presentation is to explore global patterns of mortality, identify the main variables that influence these numbers, and to connect what we find in the data with medical insights shared by the Mayo Clinic, which is part of the research that we had to do for the previous assignment. And through this assignment and the analysis of it, we can better understand how stomach cancer affects different populations and what trends might suggest about progress in prevention and healthcare all around the world. So, um, yeah. The main research question guiding this project is what global patterns can be observed in stomach cancer mortality across countries, years, and sexes? The dataset includes several key variables such as country, year, sex, age group, and number of deaths. These allow us to observe how mortality changes depending on the region, over time, and between men and women. I think that it's very important to understand these relationships because stomach cancer remains one of the leading causes of cancer related deaths worldwide. So, this is gonna help us identify populations at higher risk and can guide future public health decisions and awareness campaigns, which I'm gonna touch some points of these at the end of the presentation. All right, so for the next slide, that data connect collection and preparation. The data set that I used for the project was provided already in class, and as I mentioned before, is originated from the mortality database of the World Health Organization, which compiles official national data reported by governments and health authorities, including information on the number of deaths caused by this stomach cancer, organized by country, year, sex, age group, like we already talked about it, like in the previous slide. And For this analysis, I wanted to use Python, specifically the Pandas notebook that we've been using previously for the class to calculate descriptive statistics and create simple visualizations that helps us understanding the overall distribution of the data, to provide a clearer picture of the mortality patterns without the need for complex modeling. So it's just gonna be a very few images, to show the overall result of the research. The first step in the analysis was to calculate basic descriptive statistics for the number of deaths. The result showed approximately 198 deaths with a median of 4 and a standard deviation of 1322, um, which tell us that most observations have relatively low numbers of deaths, while a few countries report very high figures. The minimum value in the data set is 0, and the maximum reaches nearly 57,700 deaths. When we visualize the data using a histogram, we can clearly see a right skewed distribution, which means that the majority of countries have low mortality, but a very few have significantly high numbers, which translates into this uneven distribution, which is very typical in global data sets where population size and health system vary widely between the different countries that we are using. So when comparing deaths by sex, we can see that men tend to have higher average mortality than women. This finding aligns with the medical research and the Mayo Clinic's video, where they explain that the different biological factors such and smoking and alcohol consumption and diet play an important role in the development of this type of cancer. And it also, like this data also shows that on average, the number of death changes slightly across the years, with some indicators of a gradual decline in certain regions, like here, which, like these improvements can and may be linked to better diagnosis, early detection, and preventive actions such as awareness about the H. pylori, which is an infection, the Helicobacter pylori infection, which is one of the main causes of this cancer. So when analyzing the data, it's important to remember that these numbers represent people lives and the healthcare efforts that is continually evolving in the world. So finally, the conclusions and the future questions, which I feel like it's very interesting. Overall, the analysis helps us see that stomach cancer mortality is not evenly distributed across the world. Some countries still face high numbers while others shows progress and decreasing trends. The data confirm that men are more affected than women, which matches globally medical literature. And the combination of biological risk factors, the lifestyle choices, and healthcare access all play key roles in these differences. So, according to Mayo Clinic, one of the major risk factors include the H. pylori infection, smoking, excessive salt consumption, and family history. These insights help give context to the patterns observed in the data. So, for future research, it'll be helpful to study death rates per a specific amount of people instead of an absolute number to make better comparisons between countries. It'll be also useful to combine this data set with information on nutrition, infection rates, and economic indicators, same, depending on the country or regions, to better understand the causes behind these trends. So, in summary, this project highlights the importance of analyzing real world data to connect global health patterns with medical knowledge and prevention efforts. So, here are my references. I and thank you so much for watching the video. Bye.